What's up YouTube? Today we back with another video. Today we're gonna be reacting to the Trust Me Bro serial killers that's still on the loose today. Haven't watched this one yet, hopefully it'll be good. I know I haven't posted a video yesterday, that's my bad. I didn't have time, I wasn't feeling good. But thank you for watching this video, I hope y'all like and enjoy it. Make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell if you want more videos like this. With that being said, let's get started.
Serial killers that are still on the loose. According to the FBI, there could be up to 50 active serial killers in the United States right now. That's literally one serial killer for every state in the United States. For this year's Halloween special, I knew I wanted to talk about serial killers, but I also knew I wanted to...
What y'all think the worst serial killer was? I don't know. I would say Jeffrey Dahmer because... I think he was the worst one out of all of them. Like, the things he did. Like, if he never got caught, bro, you know how much more people he would have killed? Bro, you gotta think about that. But there also somebody that had like 17 kids under his house too, so he was a bad, I forgot his name, but, yeah. He was a bad person too.
Make it extra creepy. Which is why I wanted to discuss not serial killers who we all know and have been put to jail or put to death. I wanted to discuss serial killers that are currently active or still on the loose to this day. Being on the loose and being active are two different things, which is why this video is a bit of a double feature. I'm going to start by going through every serial killer who's still walking among us, and then I'm going to build up to not only serial killers who are on the loose, but are also on the loose and active to this very day. So
if they still active serial killing, bro, that would be scary, especially if you live in that state. Like, you can think, oh, I'm next. Yeah.
Let's talk about killers that could technically kill you. The I-70 killer. The year is 1992. You are the manager working at a local shoe store, and you've just began your shift. Today was like any other day. You were alone in the store, and the store was quiet. That was until one peculiar-looking man walked in. He enters the store looking directly at you.
I got a question, like, these people just be falling for these serial killers, though. Like, they don't care. Like, they really don't care. Like, they just be falling for these serial killers, bro. Like, they don't care. They just be doing it, bro. Like, if you see something suspicious, like, don't go to it. Like, that's just the obvious.
Doesn't say much. Although he asks you if you could find something for him in the back. You oblige and walk in the back, only to realize you've been followed. And before you can understand what's going on, you hear the click of a gun and your life flashes. Unfortunately, that is a real story of one of the victims of the I-70 killer. And this victim was one of many.
I don't know
the I-70 killer is named after the
I don't know why it's called the I-70 killer though.
The highway, because every single one of the murders attributed to him has taken place only a few miles off of the highway. For those unfamiliar, the I-70 highway is one of the longest interstates or highways in the entire United States and runs from Utah to Maryland. That alone is an interesting fact we'll get into later, but more on the killer himself. It's believed that the I-70 killer was most active from 92 until 94, although murders as recently as 2001 have also been attributed to him. Very little is known about the I-70 killer, and every murder that is associated with him is because of the extremely consistent methodology this man used. Almost every victim of the I-70 killer follows
Wait, I don't know if I heard this guy. I think I watched this on a car show or something like that.
The victim was a woman working alone in a retail location only a few miles off the I-70 highway and was nearly clinically executed with a 22mm bullet. Interestingly, all of the murders attributed to the I-70 killer showed little to no signs of assault or robbery after the murder took place. Meaning,
I know somebody told me if you get shot by a 22 bullet, it's not gonna hurt. I told them no matter what bullet you get hit by, it's gonna hurt. No matter what, but it can't be the smallest bullet in the world. It's gonna hurt. It's a bullet. It's gonna burn through your skin, go through your skin. It's a bullet. Like any bullet gonna be good, bro. Like any bullet gonna go through you.
But this killer
not through you, it's gonna go through your skin, like inside you. Like any bullet gonna do that.
simply for the satisfaction of killing, which is just more evidence in case you weren't convinced that this person was twisted already. Now, it's important to note that there are a few murders from the I-70 killer that are a bit unorthodox. Specifically, a few murders that involved male victims, as well as a situation where two people were murdered at the same time, which was the first and only time that happened. And it's theorized by authorities that the I-70 killer believed one of the employees was alone, when in reality the employee and store owner were both present at the location, and the I-70 killer decided to kill both of these people. As of today, there's believed to be anywhere from 6 to over 9 killings attributed to the I-70 killer. And interestingly, with these murders taking place relatively recently,
so much people will be dying from. People will be killing so much, bro. Bro. Like, people be doing that so much, bro. Like, almost every day you hear something on the news, on the radio, somebody got shot and stuff like that. That'd be insane, bro.
And the sheer volume of murders that took place, there is quite a bit of evidence and information taking place. But interestingly, even with technology that existed at the time, which was only the early 90s, and the technology that exists today, which is way more advanced, there is still absolutely no clue as to who the I-70 killer could be. And all we have are a few artist depictions based off of a few eyewitness accounts. My mind is still a bit blown that with over 6 active crime scenes that have all been extremely consistent in a relatively modern time period, we still have no real information, and it doesn't look like we're ever going to get any anytime soon.
They never found him. Like, he never leave a trace. Like, they didn't get the fingerprints off the bullet, nothing like that. The bullet casing. That's surprising, bro. Like, that's surprising.
Who claimed to have seen the I-70 killer, they said that they saw a skinny white man, roughly 5'7" to 5'9", in their 20s to 30s at the time. Authorities across the United States are still actively searching for the true identity of the I-70 killer to finally bring him to justice. And today, investigators believe that the I-70 killer is likely between the ages of 52 and 70, meaning that it's extremely likely that he's still alive and roaming the streets today. Although it's believed that he's either retired from killing or simply changed his methods so his new murders cannot be attributed to his now infamous persona. The I-70 killer wasn't the only killer of this kind. There's also an I-70 strangler and an I-65 killer. But even those aren't all of them. And in a press release, the FBI has even stated explicitly that a disproportionate amount of murderers and serial killers have been truck drivers, simply because their lifestyle is so conducive for serial killing. They're consistently traveling city to city. They're hanging out in locations that are relatively temporary, rest stops, gas stations, and they always have a reason to be going somewhere. And truck drivers and trucks, for the most part, kind of fly under the radar. In regards to the I-70 killer specifically, the authorities don't know what his occupation was, but they do believe that he was either a truck driver, a drifter, or somebody who traveled on I-70 frequently for work. So I guess all I can say is, if you're traveling on I-70 and see a man who looks something like this...
It's the same though, the man like this, bro. That's the same, bro.
The Eastbound Strangler. The year is 2006. You and your dog are staying in a cheap motel outside of Atlantic City because you've fallen on pretty hard times. And you decide to go out for your daily walk. You walk your dog on the usual route around the motel when you notice that your dog is particularly inquisitive about something behind the motel. He keeps trying to draw you down to this drainage ditch. And
there's gonna be a dead body or something new.
Willing to go down there, you figure something suspicious is going on. You get back to your room and inform police, and after they arrive, they knock on your door and tell you that what you called them about was extremely concerning. And what was found in that drainage ditch was extremely disturbing. Inside that drainage ditch laid 4 dead women. All of the women that were found in this ditch were identified as sex workers in the area. And all of these women were laid extremely methodically. These women were all face down.
It's like 4 bodies
in the drainage ditch, roughly 6 were laid extremely methodically. These women were all face down in the drainage ditch, roughly 6 feet apart from each other. All of their heads were pointed eastbound, and all of them were fully clothed except for having their socks and shoes removed. And all of them were strangled to death. The way that these women were killed and the way that their bodies were found is of course where the relatively twisted name of Eastbound Strangler came from. Now, basically everything I've just told you is almost everything that's currently known about the Eastbound Strangler. And unfortunately, that kind of just comes with the territory.
This guy never gonna get caught and pay for the act he did to this woman. Bro, that's insane. There was 4 women, bro. We're gonna have to deal with that. Bro, that's insane, bro.
Talking about serial killers that are still on the loose. They're on the loose for a reason, and that's because not much is known, or at least not enough to find them, let alone convict them. And unfortunately, this leaves a lot of room to speculation. And I would argue that if this serial killer...
You can't find serial killers, but it sucks sometimes because you gotta deal with they can kill more people like you'll never figure out who they are. Like they never expect Jeffrey Dahmer was a person until somebody escaped. Like if that guy didn't escape, they'll never expect him. People thought he was a nice guy and stuff like that. They would never expect that was him.
Was at least strong enough to strangle and move the bodies of 4 women into a ditch, then it's likely that they weren't extremely old when these killings took place. And because these killings took place only 19 years ago, I would say it's very likely that whoever killed these 6 women is still alive today and possibly still active, because all of these 4 murders were only linked together because all of the bodies were found in the same place. But if this killer decided to just go in any other place in the country and kill somebody in any other way, well, nobody's going to really suspect the Eastbound Strangler, the Jeff Davis 8. Fortunately, the Jeff Davis 8 situation does have quite a bit of information surrounding it. However, this information, while not only upsetting, only leads to more questions than answers. The Jeff Davis 8, or the Jennings 8, refers to a series of murders that took place between 2005 and 2009 in the small town of Jennings, Louisiana. All 8 of the Jeff Davis 8 victims were women, but more interestingly than that,
8 people died. That's a lot.
They were also connected to each other. Not only did they all live in similar circumstances of being young women struggling with poverty, drug use, and prostitution, but they also literally knew each other. Several of the victims in this case were also police informants, and some of these informants even ratted on each other to the same police station. And police station is something we'll discuss just in a sec. All 8 of these women were killed in similar ways and dumped in similar locations, with the murder methods used being strangulation, suffocation, or drowning. And the areas these bodies were dumped were either in swamps or canals in remote areas outside of Jennings. Now, it's reported that when these bodies were found, it's shown that there was an active attempt to have these bodies unidentifiable once found. And it's also suggested that whoever placed these bodies in these extremely remote locations was very familiar with the local terrain due to how specific these locations were and also how hard they were to get to. Off the bat, this case sounds like any of our other cases. Sure, a group of women unfortunately were killed and went missing because they lived in unfortunate situations and were vulnerable to psychopaths that were looking to kill
it's so
people.
sad that
Once you
these
look
people
deeper
be
into this
doing
case,
that,
you
bro.
realize
It's so
that while there
sad,
very
bro.
likely could have been a serial killer who killed these 8 women, it's also very highly suspected that there was some police involvement. And the theories on the involvement of this police varies drastically. Some people believe that local authorities not only executed the planning, killing, and hiding of these women's bodies, while others suspect that the local police were simply complicit in the situation and didn't put much effort into investigating the situation simply because of who the victims were. Now, whether you believe that the Jeff Davis 8 killer was a single serial killer or potentially a group of people involved in law enforcement, the same conclusion can be drawn. Nobody has ever been charged for the murders of these 8 women, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like anybody ever will. Which means that the lunatic or lunatics who killed these 8 women are definitely on the loose and walking among us. To me, this is another case that just rings so odd, because there was literally 8 murders that took place over 4 years in super modern history. Like, we're talking 2005 to 2009. Like, the technology wasn't where it is now, but it was definitely advanced enough to have some progress on this. So the fact that 8 murders can take place in 4 years in
that's sad. That is actually sad. That is sad, bro. That's sad, bro. That's sad. You want to skip it a little bit and see like the actor.
Danilovsky Maniac. Maintaining our now international theme, we next have a serial killer from Russia. The Danilovsky Maniac is a serial killer who committed at least 7 murders between 2004 and 2007 in Shakovets, Russia. This killer is known as the Danilovsky Maniac because 3 of the murders he committed took place in an abandoned construction site on Danilovsky Street. Like every other depraved individual on this list, this killer targeted women. He would assault them, kill them, and then hide their bodies in construction sites across the city. And multiple of his victims were girls under the age of 18. The Danilovsky Maniac is believed to be active as early as 1999 and as late as 2010. And with nearly 11 years of crime, 7 confirmed killings and 14 possible killings, there was quite a bit of information being processed by the police. However, nobody was ever caught.
People,
this wasn't due to a lack of effort.
They always use the females because they don't get they by themselves. It was like 2 females. There'll be a chance to overwhelm the guy unless he has a weapon. But if it's one, of course the man gonna overtake her. That's why they don't really do man But the man can overtake the murderer before he can overtake him. Like, this is why they do stuff like this, because stuff like this.
2008 alone, over 200 people were interviewed to see if they knew anything.
That's why they
eventually...
only mostly target women. That's why they mostly only target women, bro. Because like they mostly target women because of that. Because they can mostly overtake them.
Were the murderer, and the police were even offering up to 500,000 rubles for any information. However, this reward has still gone unclaimed. One disturbing trait that was common for the Danilovsky maniac was that he would leave crude drawings at the scene of each murder to essentially taunt police. These drawings were graphic in nature and extremely upsetting considering the context. As of 2024, authorities have not publicly named any suspects in this case. And all of the cases associated with the serial killers are unfortunately unsolved. The only information that the authorities are able to give publicly is that they believe that the serial killer is likely alive and potentially between the ages of 58 and 73, and may have bald spots in their hair. And if that description sounds extremely vague to you, well, that's because it is. I feel like at least 40% of Russia's population fits that description, so it's not very helpful. Although, even this minuscule amount of information is better than the no information available in some of the other cases we've discussed on this list. It's no secret that we've discussed some seriously sick and twisted individuals so far on this list. However, we're not done yet, because like I mentioned, we're going to end the video with serial killers that are on the loose and active to this very day, with confirmed kills within the last few years, or potentially even more recently. And if you thought there was limited information about the serial killers we've discussed so far, well, buckle up, because all of the active serial killers we're going to discuss have almost nothing known about them, and that's, like I mentioned, part of the nature.
Bro, so sometimes they say the police don't be doing nothing, but yeah, if they don't find no clue, no evidence, no witnesses or nothing, they not going to find no evidence, so they're not going to be able to solve the case. And people say, oh, y'all don't want to solve the case. They can't solve the case because they have no evidence. They can't just go arrest somebody that have been nothing to do with it.
Killer videos and kind of researching serial killers in general is that serial killers are more or less of a retrospective game. It typically takes many years after the fact for authorities to be able to piece things together and put together a proper timeline of exactly what happened and connect all of the dots that tie a single killer to all of the different victims. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that there's nothing for us to discuss. There's just not many examples and they're relatively vague, which is why I'm going to do a bit of a speed run, and the speed run is about to get crazy, but not as crazy as how many of you aren't actually subscribed. So if you do enjoy these videos and like my key subscribers. But okay, let's go through this speed round of serial killers that are active right now. We're starting in Mexico, and it's not necessarily one individual, it's actually a place. And this place is known as the Highway of Death. It's basically a 136-mile stretch of a federal highway that since 2022 has seen the death of at least 71 individuals who have been provably murdered. Beyond the 71 proven murders on this highway, there's believed to be over 200 potential murders that have taken place on this highway since 2020, and the number is still only going up. It's not necessarily believed that only one serial killer is responsible for all these murders, and authorities believe that this is most likely the work of cartels. But they have explicitly said that they are not writing off lone criminals to also be responsible for some of the murders that have taken place on this highway. Meaning that if anything, this stretch of highway is not home to just one serial killer, but multiple. 18 different individuals who were attacked on the highway and survived all claimed that they were abducted by armed men and tortured before being released or escaping. And while no motivation is given beyond that, it further adds to the theory that cartel intervention is happening. Although if the cartels are doing this, begs the question of what is their motivation? Just because somebody's a member of the cartel, that doesn't mean that they're not a rogue serial killer in their off time. Another ongoing situation that's taking place not in Mexico, but in Canada is known as the Highway of...
You, your team, and your agents are working together on Monday.com's AI
of Tears. On the now infamous Highway 16 in Canada, from 1970 up until the modern day, like right now, over 80 women and girls, primarily indigenous women and girls, have been murdered or have gone missing while walking on the side of this highway. With this string of murders ongoing now for over 50 years, it is believed that murdering innocent people on this highway has become more or less of a multi-generational tradition among seriously twisted individuals. And it's believed that not one, but many individuals have killed innocent women on this highway for a plethora of disturbing reasons. Going right back down to Mexico, we're discussing the toy car murderers. This is, once again, not necessarily one killer, but a group of killers who live in Sinaloa. These murders took place from 2019 to 2023 and still may be ongoing to this day. They have 5 proven victims and 6 possible victims. And this killer, or group of killers, are known as the toy car killers because they are specifically targeting car thieves. Yeah, like this is some Dexter stuff. These individuals are identifying car thieves, shooting them in the head, leaving them for dead, and leaving toy cars on their body as a calling card. Authorities believe that this is some form of vigilante justice.
I mean, is he wrong though? Because he keep robbing cars. I might be wrong though, so yeah, I might be wrong.
The actions are being taken out by either one person or a group of organized people, all with the same hatred of car thieves. Having a serial killing calling card in 2023 is some seriously diabolical stuff. And don't get me wrong, stealing somebody's car is really messed up. But if you're going to create an organized crime murder vigilante justice group, I feel like there are probably other crimes you could go after rather than car thieves. But that's just my 2 cents. Not advocating for vigilante justice or murder, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's probably other things you could be more motivated by, but what do I know? Heading over to the States, we have the Little Rock serial stabbings. From 2020 to 2021, there were 3 confirmed fatal stabbings in Little Rock, Arkansas. All 3 of these stabbings were believed to be committed by the same person, and unfortunately, there is absolutely no information about who was stabbing these people and why they were stabbing these people. Authorities are actively investigating the situation, and hopefully justice and answers are brought forward soon. Jumping over to Pakistan, we have the Jankil grave. In 2020, a grave containing the bodies of 4 teenage boys was found. One of these boys was decapitated, one of them was shot, and 2 of them were stoned to death. The only connection between all of these bodies were the fact that they were buried in the same place. But beyond that, nobody knows who killed these boys, why they killed them, or when this even happened. This situation has been going since 2020, and minimal updates have been provided since then. There has been numerous protests in Pakistan demanding justice for these young boys, but unfortunately, answers or justice have not been given yet. And this killer, along with all others, are still at large.
Well, that's really all that is to the video. And thank y'all for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe if y'all enjoyed the video. I'll be making another video tonight. So I look forward to that. Hope y'all look forward to it. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one.